Taking a look at the slip joint I used on the Baja Bug steering to accommodate the 3-inch body lift. Before I put it back together, I thought I'd make a separate video as to how it works. It's a piece of double D tube slipped over a piece of solid double D and winds up about this far apart in service. Both pieces are as long as they can possibly be and fit in the available space. On this end I tapered this, and here with the die grinder I made a bell mouth, the idea in both cases being to stop it from digging in and sticking. I think that's worked pretty well. This was in service for about 4 years, and I expected to make new ones of both of these parts, expecting to find wear or worse a groove in the surface. And surprisingly, although it's marked here where it bears against the outer tube, I can't really detect any roughness or even any wear. So I've decided to put this back into service as is. Now the grease that I used, it was ordinary grease that had dried up and was kind of sticky, and that may have been preventing this from moving back and forth easily. And again, I believe a slip joint is necessary because the suspension is always going to be moving relative to the body, and with no slip joint you're just going to be bending the input shaft of the steering box up and down constantly. So I incorporated this slip joint. Now if for some reason the car body were to ever move away from the suspension this far, it will fall apart. There's nothing holding this together. But if the car body ever moves this far away from the suspension, I think some greater catastrophe has already occurred, and a loss of steering will be a moot point at that time. Just for the sake of general knowledge, here's the mating U-joint, and in the Borgeson system you have one set screw that goes into a partially drilled hole to create a mechanical lock so this can't come off, and then a second set screw bears against the side to just add some additional rigidity to this joint, I presume. Where there's a spline, they only provide one set screw. I'd probably be happier with 2, and I've thought of drilling and tapping this, but I haven't done that yet. What I'd really be happy with is a clamp arrangement here. If the spline were split and there was a bolt on the side that clamped it hard onto the spline, I think that would make me the happiest of all, but I don't believe that's in the marketplace. Flaming River might have something like that, but I don't believe Borgeson sells anything that clamps. All their stuff uses this set screw arrangement that I'm not completely thrilled with. On the other end, at the large double D tube end, you drill a hole all the way through, and this very long set screw bears against the back side. So this comes on like that. You turn that screw all the way down through the hole, it bears on the back side, and then a second screw, like before, bears on the side for additional rigidity of this joint. And then as you're driving around, these set screws are, in my mind, looking for something to snag on and lock up your steering. Another reason why I'd like to see a clamp arrangement. To keep dust out before, I have this accordion that I got from Borgeson, and it goes approximately there. It's a remarkably stretchy rubber, and it looks like it will be able to be used a second time. It fits snugly on both the larger diameter and the smaller diameter, about right there. And this time I plugged this end with RTV, believing that it would be best to not allow any grit to get in from this end. So I've got the rubber accordion here, the RTV seal there. At this point, I don't believe I left anything out other than, instead of grease, I plan to use moldy paste and see if I get a smoother slip joint action and one that continues to slide easily over a long span of time. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, thanks, and be sure to watch my other videos.